Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Linked In for August 10th, 2012. My name is Link, bringing you community interaction and gaming discussions. To submit a question, please read the new description, which I put a little bit of, well, I put little things in there to make it look fancy. So, yeah. And in the background, you will see none other than League of Legends and a Morgana with the awesome skin. But anyway, let's get to the questions that I feel that mattered. And guys, for those who want me to look at your channels, I won't. And that's because, well, it's just, the only reason I looked at his channel was because it's a name I've never heard before, and I've looked at most of your guys' channels already. Also, that York is kind of amazing. But anyway, let's get to the questions. This first one from the original Guitar Hero. Hey Link, just wondering, what are your thoughts on Shen? Well, we'll get to that after we're done with the question. And on a side note, do you think they should bring back his Yellow Jacket skin? And how do you think they should rework him, if you believe they should? Okay, let's go backwards in this one. So, how do I think they should rework him? I don't. It's Shen. Shen is Shen, and I like the new version better than the old version. The old version seemed a little bit too reliant on actually being a tank, and less of actually being able to do damage, or hybrid Shen. And the new Shen opens up a lot more possibilities. And this is one of the big draws to the new Shen. And I feel that this is what's really able to allow Shen to be Shen now. And this is actually why I like him, is after his rework. Before his rework, he was almost unplayable, to say the least. And in my opinion, yeah, he's pretty much unplayable. Now, on the side note, should they bring back Yellow Jacket's Shen? No, they should not. Why? Because, one, it's a Legacied skin. The reason it's Legacied is because the people who bought it way back when it was a new skin, well, they bought it because they were good at Shen at the time, and they deserve to have something special that other people don't. So, that's why I don't think they should bring back any Legacied skin. Maybe for like a super sale, or if they have another Make-A-Wish type deal. But I don't think they should bring back Legacied skins at all, because I have a Legacy Jax skin and a Legacy Shaco skin. Jax and Shaco were my first two junglers, and that's one of the reasons I got them. And my thoughts on Shen is, he is way too good of a solo top and should never be played whatsoever, because he's just OP noob cheese. It's pretty much like having a Darius versus a Shen in the top lane. You both have OP champions, and eventually one of you is going to be more OP than the other. It's going to create a giant black hole, and the world's going to implode. So that's pretty much what happens if you ever have a Darius versus a Shen top. But enough about that. Shen, for his kit is really interesting, to say the least. What I mean by that is his kit allows him a multitude of abilities. He has a harass in the form of his Q, which he can use at many times to actually harass, or even get up his own health by putting on a tank minion and actually being able to sap health from it for no real reason. But this allows him better lane sustain. Then we have his shield, which is W, which is overpowered because it has such a quick cooldown, along with, if you do use the cooldown reduction runes on Shen, you will actually have a better chance to block damage, which makes him even a stronger solo top. Then you have his taunt, which can be used in team fights, and is pretty much one of the main reasons people play Shen. Along with that ulti of his, allowing him to be anywhere on the map at any time. If you have that, and if you have teleport, you can be at a lane in 2 times. Or you can be at a lane, and then you can teleport back to your lane and not even miss a minion. So, Shen is OP. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, so we're going to the next question, which is from Mindlord. Another person that always sends questions to these shows. Other guys, hey, you got questions, send them in. I've taken a close look at Warwick's abilities lately, set up, and I find and a little bland and lacking in total. Especially his E, Bloodlust, and his ultimate. Do you agree or disagree? And how would you change any of his abilities? Warwick is perfect the way he is. Why am I saying this, and why am I pretty much having a bias toward this? Because Warwick has one of two roles, and the role that he plays more often is Tankwick, and what Tankwick is meant to do is do what he's supposed to do, honestly. What I mean by this is he is able to use Bloodlust and close gaps on targets, or if a target is low and hiding in a bush, he can find them. This allows him easy abilities to run through the jungle. So say when someone's low and they just kind of juke through the jungle, you have a Warwick on your team, he just has to enter that jungle and you'll know where they are at all times. This is why Bloodlust is such a great ability. Now, a couple things about Warwick's kit that I find quite good is he has his Q, which early game, if you buy Adorans, it gives you much better sustain in your lane and allows you to actually, well, do what Warwick does and lifesteal. Now, this with his basic is also a very good ability. Now, he also has a steroid, which increases his attack speed. Now, there's two different ways to play Warwick. You can go attack speed Warwick, or you could go, what's the other Warwick? Attack speed Warwick or Tankwick. Which Tankwick, hopefully I'll give you guys a Tankwick video on maybe Tuesday, not sure. But Tankwick is essentially one of the stronger Warwicks because of how you build and play him. Now, this is where his ultimate and Bloodlust really come in handy. So you have Warwick, and they have a Fed AD carry. They have a Fed Vayne, okay? She doesn't have a Quicksilver Sash or Cleanse. Now, how are you going to be able to take her out in a team fight without her popping her ultimate and just flying around, killing everyone in less than 4 shots? This is where a Tankwick would come in handy. Tankwick is normally a solo top because he is able to CS and be able to still sustain and maybe even kill the enemy champion. He actually counters Darius quite well. So here's how it works. You build him with a Shurelya's and a Frozen Heart. Those are the two main items you want on him. You also want a Spirit Visage, a Wriggle's Lantern, Merc Treads, and Wit's End. That's all the items you want on Tankwick. Why do you want these items? Because they give him tankiness, they give him sustain, they give him lifesteal, they give him everything he genuinely needs to be a good option. Now, the reason that Tankwick needs all these items is because this gives him the abilities to, shut down someone for a matter of seconds. And that matter of seconds can be a very long time. Now, what you do is you can run into a team fight and ult them. Now, say the Vayne is running away because she's at low health. This is also another thing. So you can use your ulti on the Vayne that has the low health, and you can latch onto him. Say she has her tumbles and she's been getting away, and she's slowly losing ground. Well, Bloodlust will kick in, or you can even use Shurelya's and Bloodlust to get there even quicker and lock her down with your ulti so your team can catch up and kill her, or you can kill her after doing enough damage. Now, the reason that you have those two tanky items that give you speed and that give you the ability to have cooldown reduction, this is because they give you the cooldown reduction. This allows you to spam it during team fights, so you can spam it once and then be ready for a team fight right after, or a gank if you do win your lane rather quickly. Now, these are what really makes Tankwick good. It's hard to really show it. You really have to play it better, to understand it, how it actually works. You have to really just kind of play it and mess with Tankwick. So that's how I see him being actually still a very good choice. Now, if the right thing they could rework on him is kind of get on the fact that he is more of a with his current skill set, he needs more lifesteal, more leeching. Now, what I mean by that is maybe instead of having that ultimate, he gets a Scion ulti, where he gets the more steroids on his abilities, so he's more focused on basic attacks. This would give him a much less diverse ability, but then you could have his Bloodlust be a leap, where he could leap to a target and get next to them, and then activate his abilities. This would make a Frozen Mallet on him much better. Now those are the only two ways I'd actually rework him, because all of his other skills would sit well with the new version. And that's what I feel is actually that when it comes to changes for Warwick. Okay, we have a new person to the LinkedIn show. His name is William Su. I'm not kidding. William, then SU. And he asked a question that's not League of Legends orientated. That's just fun to say. Okay, so he pretty much says, short and sweet, what are your impressions on sequels? Sequels. We see them a lot. Mostly Call of Duty, Battlefield, Call of Duty. And why do we see this? Because people are afraid to branch out IPs. IP is intellectual property, for those of you who do not know. And what an IP is essentially they own the rights to that, and that is what they essentially use. Now, Call of Duty does this. Why? Because they have that fan base. They have those 13-year-olds and all the people on YouTube that like playing it. So, I'm going to say essentially. So, pretty much, they already have a fan base, and they're afraid to go away from it. Now, sequels in their case are getting worse and worse and worse. They're just kind of putting a fresh coat of paint on a broken down car. And they keep trying to sell it back to you for $60, and people keep going at it for $60. And they really don't actually, they don't really understand that they're being ripped off, for lack of better words, and that every time that they do that, they're encouraging bad behavior within developers. Now, we can also say that EA has done this, but not really, and it's only more recently that I've seen this happen. We have Battlefield. So we had original Battlefield, then we had Battlefield 2, and now we have Battlefield 3. Battlefield 2 and 3 had a nice little break in between the two of them, and they had a lot of extra things implemented. This is great. But Battlefield 4 looks like it's about to start doing the Call of Duty type deal, where it's going to keep coming again and again and again, until we get to the point where we're sick of it and we start attributing it to something like Call of Duty. Now, a game company I think that does well with sequels has to be the game company that we all love and know, Ubisoft. Their DRM might suck, but we do see a trend within their sequels. So let's see. We have Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed 1 was a horrible game, and not a lot was in there, and a lot of it was broken. So then they went and did Assassin's Creed 2. What do you see? An amazing game with a ton of new content and a ton of stuff that actually got revised, reworked, and made to the better. Then we had Brotherhood, was it? I think it was Brotherhood, then Revelations. Brotherhood is implementing the clan system and all of that. Now, they didn't really refine it until they went to Revelations. Now, if this is backwards, just flip it over. They kind of do it every other thing. So I'm guessing that Assassin's Creed 3 is actually going to be horrible, and they're going to have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood be Assassin's Creed 3.0, essentially. Or 3.0. You know what I'm trying to say. The next one after 3 is going to be the one that actually is going to win. And this is why they might do it yearly, but if you buy every other game, you're most likely about to get the right games. Now, I really don't like the fact they do it every year. They should have a little bit of extra time to actually go in and change it, but they do seem to actually make improvements and add on. That's why Call of Duty is so bad, because that's pretty much all it really is just remaking the same thing over and over and over again, and not with much changes. Battlefield has some changes.